Dan, and this is my Rock Band drum kit mod. A lot of people have been calling it a fake, so I want to set the record straight and show you how I did it. But before I do, I also want to tell you, don't try this at home. Do not attempt this mod at home. I will not be held responsible if you break your game console or your drum or injure yourself or burn down your house or whatever. I did this for my own entertainment and you shouldn't do it at home. So, after my throne here settles, let's talk about why the drum kit works in the first place. The original Rock Band drum pad I have here that came off of this, when you take it off, flip it over, pop off this piece and pull off this little bandage thing, you get the piezo. And the piezo is a really cool ceramic on metal thing that if you put electricity through it, buzzes, but if you hook it up to something and then bend it, it generates an electric current, and that's how the Rock Band drum kit detects when you've hit a drum. Let's take you on a tour now. Okay, so to start off, here's the original part of my drum kit. What I've done is I've taken the outer two pads off entirely and kept the electronics, and these wires that used to go to the piezo, like the one I just pulled out, instead go over to the drums. I've hooked them up with RCAs so that I can disconnect them for portability. So there's no magic here. This is the USB wire, and it comes right down here and loops around a little bit and goes right into my 360. Alright, connected to the television. I'll explain in the build how I did it, but essentially I put piezos on these metal bars underneath the foam, and when you hit the mesh here, it's just a standard practice mesh head to make them silent. You can play with the regular head, but you'll be loud as heck. The piezo underneath sends the signal to the drum kit, or what's left of it, and Rock Band registers a hit. So that's it. Now I'm going to give it a quick demo run, and we'll get into the build. So, I'll explain the kick in a sec. So you can see the kick pedal changes as it should. Down, up, back, go, or whatever you want to call the green pad. You can go nuts with it. Do it one by one. Let's see, where's maps? Here's how I do maps. Alright, let me go over the kick pedal before I play the song. So originally, I was going to do an arcade button, like a joystick button for the kick pedal, but I was registering multiple hits. So instead what I have is a magnetic switch back there, and there's a hard drive magnet mounted in the drum pedal here, head. I needed a little bit of a beefier magnet in order to register the hits. Let me turn up the volume, and we'll get going. See the drums all work. my best job ever. So we start with the piezo, which I get from Radio Shack. It's meant to be a buzzer, so it comes in a plastic casing that you have to cut out. I find that wire cutters are the best way to do that. So after painstakingly cutting it without scratching it or bending it, because it's very fragile, just pry it out gently with a hobby knife. And there's the piezo. Now, I took the wires that were connected to the original piezos and just cut them. And now I am soldering them to standard RCA cables. They're cheap and they work well and they're easy to connect. So they seemed like a good choice. And these are connected to the Rock Band controller still. The other end is just the male end, and I'll use a connector to attach them to the piezo. So here I'm attaching the piezo, or soldering the piezo, to the other side of the RCA cable that I cut in half. And I should really get some of those alligator clip things to help me hold them so that I can do this a little better. Alright, next, just have to take the drum head off of the drum. Okay, now you have to measure the drum head because there's going to be a metal bar insert that the piezo is going to sit on. So now I've measured it, and this is just an aluminum, I think like 3/4 inch square tube that I bought at Home Depot. Cut that off. Now I'm just using some right angle brackets, and that piece of tape is temporary just to hold it in place. Later on I will screw it onto the drum. But the other piece of double-sided tape is the permanent fixture for the metal bar because they don't need much, just keep them in place. Now on top of the piezo, because the piezo is very fragile, you got to put some foam. So right on top of it I use this pipe insulation foam, and above that I use some open cell foam, and you can see the cube of it there. I'll cut that down later. Alright, so here I've sort of shaped it, but it's way too big, so shaping it down more. I'm making it into a cone shape because I read up on it, and basically that's what the real guys use. So now I've put a little bit of that foam double-sided tape on the piezo. It'll keep it in place and give it space to bend down so that it can make its current. And that's just how that'll stay on the bar. And the two pieces of foam just go on top of that like that. The RCA cable just gets fed through a hole in the side of the drum, and then I put the mesh head on top. As I said, you can use a regular drum head, but your drum will be as loud as a real drum. These are pearl muffle heads, and they're very quiet. Just put the head on, and that's the end of it. Do that 3 more times, and you're done.